Hey there, welcome to this picking primer from Metal Guitar Academy. Some bonus material for speed picking, daily guitar gains, also known as Master Month, because you'll see a lot of gains in a month. So we're going through some hand placement first, and then we're going to talk about some good ways, primarily through what we call tremolo picking, which is doing multiple pick strokes per one note to build up your speed and stamina. So, welcome. Holding the pick, very important. This is the foundation for a good picking technique. A lot of people don't hold a pick very solidly and they don't consciously realize it. So, first things first, you're going to make thumbs up sign. Boom. Notice, not super tight fingers, just nice and loose. Okay? Thumbs up sign. Notice the crease right here. Kind of got three segments of the finger, index finger right now, 1, 2, 3. That crease right there. We're going to take the pick, we're going to place that pick right on that crease with the tip pointing out. Okay. Notice it's kind of jamming into this part of my finger up there a little bit. Now I'm going to take the thumb, lay it nice and flat over that pick. Okay, I'm not doing that with the thumb. We're not doing anything strange like this, getting all tense with the fingers pointing out. Just nice, loose yet firm fist. Pick like that, boom, thumb laid over. Again, it's kind of jamming into my finger a little bit, not uncomfortably. Just a little bit of the pick sticking out. That's going to go over the strings nice and efficiently. And notice you got this really solid table of your fingers under here. That's very important. So, just like that. Thumbs up sign, pick like that, boom. Nice and comfortable. Now that you've got a nice, good grip on that pick, next is the hand placement. There's 2 points on the hand that I like to think about as making contact with the guitar, so that you have the most efficiency of motion and so you're not floating where you don't know where the heck the pick is all the time. Right here. Okay, we're kind of where your wrist meets your hand, this meaty part. That's going to make contact right there behind the strings. And again, everybody is a little bit different shape, size. We're not going to get out the protractor and it measured 24.5-degree angle, but you want to just use these as principles, okay? And adjust where it's comfortable. But I'm taking this part of the hand and I'm placing it pretty much right here. Now I'm not covering up the strings. I can still hit the low E. I can still hit the A, all the strings, even though I am touching that bridge. Next, the little joints here, ring and pinky. I've got those resting on these higher strings. And you're gonna feel those. If I start picking faster, you're gonna feel that part of your hand brushing up against the strings here a little bit. That's normal, that's okay. It doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. With those 2 points, you have a very solid feel for where your hand is at all times. You're able to mute string noise because you're already on top of that area. If I play a scale where I'm just floating, where I'm not doing that, and I'm not going to do anything intentionally to mess this up, this is just naturally going to happen. If I stop playing, you have all that noise because the right hand is not muting over here. Now, if I place my hand where I have just described and I play the same scale, as I move up, if I stop playing, silence because I am muting the strings I've already played. So the place where you're putting your hand is very important. We don't want to end up doing this with the wrist to get down to the high string. In other words, a lot of times I see people do this. They'll start to play a scale. Let's say I'm playing a major scale. Checking my wrist, I'm going to exaggerate a little bit, but I'm going to do that curve thing. Not only does that look awkward, it doesn't sound good. Your pick isn't moving efficiently across strings. Now, if we let the hand move with the pick, watch the difference how this looks. It's subtle, but I'm doing that, which allows me to maintain contact with the guitar, either the bridge or these higher strings with these parts of the fingers. But that's keeping the pick flatter, so it's not only more efficient across the strings, but it's not going to get that kind of sound that you hear sometimes when you're trying to do this, which is awkward. The tremolo picking stuff is extremely important because if you don't have the stamina to keep that pick going, let's say that's not too bad, okay? I feel like I could play that for 5 minutes or something. It's folly to try and do something fast where you're trying to pick with your hand, your left and your right hand. Say something like this, if I was going to go. Climbing the neck. What used to give me problems was this was no problem for me over here, but I didn't have the stamina to keep that going for a long time. So to try and put them together, my right hand would get all screwed up while this one was still ready to go. So it's very important to do the boring stuff, which is the tremolo picking. Until you can play catch up over here. Now if I put that together, let's see here. No problem. I can do that for quite some time, and I'm not getting tired on this side. This is not a crazy fast speed for me on the left hand. Very important principle, doing these little bursts and then doing a target note so that you don't overwhelm yourself. A lot of times people mistake overwhelm for, oh, it's too fast and I have to slow it down, which is going to set you back. You're not going to be pushing yourself enough. So here's the first burst. Da-ga-da-ga-dum, da-ga-da-ga-dum. Again, no palm muting. Don't want to do that all the time. That's an extra. Now when you're ready and you feel like, okay, my hand feels about how fast that is, now you throw in the next note. As your target. Okay? And you keep building it up. But you want to build that up. Next string. Until you go through the whole thing, all 6 strings. So when you're ready to start pushing your tempo, you don't want to immediately go fast. We have to make sure that we're building up the muscles so that you can get these medium tempos first. That's what's going to build your stamina. That was a mistake I made years ago, kind of neglecting these medium tempos. This click right now I have at about 126, and I'm going to be playing 4 per note, again, starting with a burst. This is sometimes trickier than it looks, doing these medium tempos. So let's say I start on the G string here. Okay, takes a second to get me warmed up, even that medium one. For me personally, the 126 can be a little harder to get into because I'm trying to go a little too quick. My muscles just want to go that quick. So again, just do a very simple thing with the left hand, but do the different strings. It feels different, especially at this medium tempo, in my opinion, to play on the lower strings. Feels a little different than to go way up on the high E string. So you want to make sure that you do both. A variation on the tremolo pick, doing the 4s. is going to be doing twos. Let's say you stay on one string, which I think is important, because again, we want to do more over here, less over here, when we're trying to just build up the raw speed and stamina on the right hand. So let's say I'm just playing on the G string, but now I'm going to go 2 per It's trickier again, trickier than it seems, because you're having to line this left hand up very precisely with this hand. It's very important to be able to focus in on the very specific hard part of a lick, especially with the picking. For example, if I was doing it takes me a second to warm up to something too sometimes. If I'm doing that sequency kind of a lick, the tough part is this, for me anyway, getting back. If I'm doing down, up, down, it's crossing that string to the downstroke. My tendency sometimes is to rush it, and it sounds just as sloppy as if you go slow. So what I tend to do is I'll find that really tiny part that's difficult, and I will just make sure that I can target it so that's clean. Once I feel like that's under control, I'll do the next note. Oops, there it is. I find a lot of players don't go that granular with it, and I think it's important because there's usually one little tiny thing like a string cross that's going to mess you up. And so if you can build that up so that that sounds really good, you feel very confident, you're not rushing, you're not going too slow, you'll get the whole lick a lot more quickly than you would otherwise. It's also important to start some licks on an upstroke. Some licks are going to be more conducive to starting with an upstroke, especially if you're coming in on an offbeat. Let's say that I'm at this tempo right here, I think it's about 168. Da-ga-ga-dum, da-ga-ga-dum, da-ga-ga-dum. There's those nonsense syllables again, that can help. But think about it, if I'm going down, up, the strong beat on the click is going to happen on an upstroke. That's going to feel weird to most people. So what I'm going to do is start the lick on an upstroke. Up, down, down. One, two, three. It's awkward at first when you do this, so you do it slow, but as you build up the speed, that actually feels a lot more natural. You're not working as hard. And also the stress or the stress of the beat is going to match your more powerful downstroke.